Hey, it's Webs here, and I'm back with some more cards to review for the Fractured and Alterac Valley Hearthstone set. The rest of the hero cards have been revealed, along with some other interesting cards. So let's get into the discussion now, shall we? Alright, so Mage got another new big spell, which is Mass Polymorph. It is a 7-cost spell with the Arcane School of Magic, and it transforms all minions into 1/1 sheeps. This is a card that has been fabled to exist in Hearthstone's history throughout each set that has ever came out. It's something that fans have been wanting for a long period of time, and I can honestly say this card probably isn't the best card in the world. It's a 7-cost card that turns everything into sheep. If we see a bunch of buff decks actually appear, then a card like this will actually see some play. But at the same time, it is a 7-cost spell, which is kind of hard to rationalize to include in the deck. Why run this over something like Flame Strike instead? Because that will just target your opponent's board and not yours. I guess this could work in some type of no minion mage, which is the current way to actually play mage, I guess. So maybe it will see some play there, but besides that, I can't see where it will see play. It's cool to actually finally have this as a card, but I don't think it's that useful. Amplified Snow Fury is a new minion for Mage. It is a 2-cost elemental with 2 attack and 3 HP. With the battle cries, your next hero power costs 0 and freeze the target. So this is support for both Freeze Mage and Hero Power Mage, which is actually kind of interesting. I don't know if there will be some type of weird Freeze Mage hero power deck, but it's honestly not a bad card. It's statted pretty well, and being able to just freeze one target so you can stall yourself out for an additional turn is pretty good in a hero mage style package anyway, so I could see this actually seeing some play in that type of deck. Paladin is rewinding time back to the times of Blackrock Mountain and Dragon Paladin. Brass Wing is a 8-cost paladin minion with 9 attack and 7 HP, and at the end of the turn it deals 2 damage to all enemies, and if you kill any, you restore 4 health to your hero. So this is a card that has a high cost, but I think this could actually see some play. There are ways for paladin who actually get a dragon out of the deck pretty easily if you need it for late game. However, the only downside is this is a late game minion. At the same time, you have Vanguard, which could make this actually relevant. It's a AoE board clear each individual turn, which is the saving grace of this card actually. Because it's at the end of your turn, this will at least trigger at once, which makes it a lot better than any of the caravans that were released in the Baron set. So I could actually see this seeing some play in some type of big dragon paladin deck. And I actually kind of want to test that out now. Alright, so Beast Tamer Tavish is the first hero card that got revealed today with the Battlecry, Discover, and Cast 2 Empowered Secrets. And the hero power, Summon an Animal Companion for 3. And I called the secret half of the support of this card, but I did not expect that the hero power would be summoning a animal companion. That's actually something that I would have never expected, but I guess it makes some sense because it does combine the 2 themes of Hunter into one card. Thus, this is probably more dynamic of a card than some of the other hero cards that have been revealed so far. And just so I have an easier way to show off each individual improved secret, I'm just going to use out of cards instead of the official site because this is a lot easier to show. So the improved Explosive Trap does 3 damage instead of 2. The improved Freezing Trap increased the costs by 4 instead of 2. Improved Snake Trap is 3 2/2s. Improved Pack Tactics is 3 copies. And improved Opening the Cages is 2 Animal Companions instead of 1. And we get revealed to us a new secret that actually solves the issue I had with Secret Hunter in standard right now, which is improved Ice Trap. Will be something that we'll cover in a little bit. It's a secret for the improved version which increases the cost of the next spell that your opponent casts by 2 and returns it to their hand. I don't know how useful that's actually going to be in the end, but it is actually nice to actually see that we are getting a secret to interact with your opponent's spells. Even though this card supports the secret package in Hunter, I don't see it being played because of that. I think it will see play mainly because of the hero power, just because that is infinite resources that you don't have to rely on using Animal Companion in your actual deck, because that card has been power crept so much at this point. And the only upside of this is the fact that this is a hero power instead of an actual card you have to run. Overall, I think Tavish is not created equal to a lot of the other hero cards that have been revealed so far, but I still enjoy the fact that it does have a lot of flavor between supporting both Beast Hunter and Secret Hunter. So it is a kind of a cool card to actually see, but sadly it's probably going to be the hero card that sees the least amount of play. I could be wrong. Infinite resources is always something that's kind of worrying. Alright, so the hero card gave us a little preview of the secret that Hunter is getting in the set, which is Ice Trap, that costs 2, and it reads secret when your opponent casts a spell, return it to their hand instead, and it costs 1 more. So I don't know if this is enough to actually make this kind of playable, but at the same time, with all the other secret support, I could see this actually being used a lot more just because you can easily access it out of your deck, along with the fact that Secret Hunter does have some payoffs in the form of Petting Zoo, which could actually be pretty cool. It also does protect your Petting Zoo if you're using this in combination with it, just because if they're using a fire sale to clear out your board, then it'll go back to their hand and it'll cost 1 more, and they still won't be able to actually play the card that turn probably, unless it's super late game. So in the end, I think this is a relatively fine card. I don't think it's anything crazy, but at the same time, it does help solve the glaring weakness of Secret Hunter. Alright, so Hunter has a new minion that got revealed today, which is Mountain Bear that costs 7 with 5 attack and 6 HP. It has Taunt and the Deathrattle summoned to 4 cubs with Taunt. So this is kind of like a reverse Savannah Highmane when it comes to stats. This could in theory be used in a more control style Hunter deck. However, I don't think at 7 mana it's going to see any play. Unless you're playing some type of Vanguard deck, I don't think this card is going to see much play. But then again, Blizzard seems to be balancing a lot of these high-end cards around the fact that Vanguard exists. So who knows, maybe we'll see some additional support to make this card even better. But overall, it just seems like a bad card, at least for standard. Reconnaissance is Rogue's new spell that got revealed today, which is a 2-cost spell that discovers a Deathrattle minion from another class, and it costs 2 less. So this is exactly the type of support that Deathrattle Rogue actually needs. More ways to actually generate more Deathrattle minions without actually having to run any in your deck, just so you don't lower the consistency rate of whatever Deathrattle in your deck that you're trying to copy. And there are quite a few good targets for this card actually to get, such as the primes from Ashes and Outland, because imagine getting something like Solarian Prime off of this, which would be absolutely insane. And the fact that it discounts whatever Deathrattle you do discover, this should in theory be even better, just because then you can run some of the Deathrattles that would have seen a lot of play if they cost 2 less. But because they don't see any play, such as like Enhanced Dreadlord. So in the end, I would say this is probably a really playable card when it comes to Rogue, and I'm looking forward to actually making Deathrattle Rogue into a deck. Old Tooth Yeti is a Rogue minion that got revealed for 3 mana, and it has 1 attack and 5 HP. Now that might sound really bad, but it does have the combo gain 3 attack, which puts it in line with the original Yeti that usually costs 4, but to be honest, I don't think this will see that much play in standard. There's just better options for Rogue to actually run without having to rely on actually comboing it out on turn 3. Because for the most part, this is probably a card that we'll see play on like turn 4 or later. And because of the fact, why would you run this over the original Yeti? This is just a more situational original Yeti. Alright, so Priest gets another Deathrattle support in the form of Spirit Guide, which is a 5-cost minion with 5 attack and 5 HP. With Taunt and Deathrattle, draw a Holy Spell and Shadow Spell. So just because it can tutor out both a Holy Spell and a Shadow Spell, that actually makes this Deathrattle pretty insane. It is just a Taunt to put on board whenever you reach turn 5 anyways, and it should fit into existing decks for Priest as long as you're trying to do some type of control deck, because being able to draw 2 on its Deathrattle or just have a 5/5 body that your opponent doesn't want to deal with on board is actually pretty good, and I could see this actually seeing a lot of play. Deliverance is a holy spell for Priest that costs 3 and reads deal 3 damage to a minion, honorable kill, summon a new 3/3 copy of it. So my first thought with this card was that it can target both your minions and your enemy minions, which made me think of which minions in Priest currently that have Deathrattle that you actually want to abuse. And then I got back to the point that I made earlier with the Zyrilla hero card of Shadow Spirit. Being able to just instantly trigger a Shadow Spirit after charging it into your opponent's face would actually be kind of funny. And you can get additional Death Rattles off of this, which means the Zyrilla combo is actually much easier to actually pull off. So I'm actually looking forward to actually trying a deck out like that in the future. I don't know if that's going to be really good, but from a normal meta standpoint, 3 damage to a minion that has an honorable kill that gives you a 3/3 copy is actually pretty good no matter what, just because 3 HP is really common in current standard. And I could see this seeing some play in multiple decks. Questline Druid gets a new support card in the form of Claw Fury Adept, which is a 2-cost minion with 2 attack and 3 HP, with the battle cry give all other friendly characters +1 attack for this turn. Well, I think this card was initially printed so you would have some type of Questline Druid support. I think this card will probably see some play in Aggro Taunt Demon Hunter in particular, just because it is a nice body that gives all your other minions +1 attack, which actually could be quite insane if you have a wide board. But at the same time, I kind of hope this sees more play in Questline Druid, just because I would rather see that deck again than see more Aggro Taunt Druid, to be honest. But either way, it's going to probably see some type of play in Standard. It is just a strong card to actually include in your deck. Pathmaker is another Druid minion that got revealed today that costs 3 with 3 attack and 4 HP. With the battle cry, cast the other choice from your last choose one spell you've cast. So for this card, I don't think it works with Jerry Rig, just because I don't know if the 2 halves that Jerry Rig gives you count as the choose one spell still. However, if it does, then this card is actually pretty good, but if it doesn't, I think this card is just a little bit too late. If Jerry Rig didn't exist before this card existed, it would probably see a lot more play, but if this doesn't work with Jerry Rig, I don't see a world where this sees that much play, to be honest. Scrapsmith is a warrior minion that got revealed today that costs 3 with 2 attack and 4 HP with taunt, and the battle cry add 2 to 4 grunts with taunt your hand. So if we compare this to another card that got revealed earlier, aka Mountain Bear, I think this card is a lot better than that card in particular. This is basically like a retrain of the old Phantom Militia card from Witchwood, and that card saw a lot of play, except for the fact that this card actually allows you to keep them in your hand. It is kind of funny that we're seeing some Taunt Warrior support again, even though it seems to be that one deck that Blizzard has been giving support to maybe 1 or 2 cards at a time, and it's never going to actually do anything. It is a nice statted minion, so it might see some play, and it does give you some additional resources for that type of deck, which can easily be buffed up with conditioning. But outside of that, I don't know how useful this card is actually going to be. I kind of do hope that we do see Taunt Warrior become a deck, but at the same time, I don't know if we've seen enough for it to become one. Alright, so Token Demon Hunter continues to get some support in the form of Flanking Maneuver, which is a 4-cost Demon Hunter spell that reads Summon a 4/2 Demon with Rush. If it dies this turn, summon another. So this is another good card for Token Demon Hunter. It makes discounting Giant Urzel actually easier than before. It does give Demon Hunter some good removal tool for a token style deck instead of actually playing some other type of spell that just does damage instead. And if you can actually get the 4/2 demon to die, this is 8/4 worth of stats on a 4-cost card, which is actually pretty insane, and it does kind of help Token Druid actually shape up to be a deck that might be meta relevant. Speaking of Token Demon Hunter support, we also have an Armenian Battle Worn Vanguard, which is a 2-cost Demon Hunter minion with 2 attack and 2 HP that reads after your hero attacks, summon 2 1/1 Fell Wings. Sure, those demons don't actually get you anything right away, since they don't have any rush or anything like that. However, this is actually pretty easy to trigger in Demon Hunter, and I could see this actually seeing play in a Token Demon Hunter deck, just because it's an easy way to generate some tokens on board without actually wasting a complete turn, and it only costs 2 mana. So in combination with your hero power on turn 3, you have 4/4 worth of stats, which is actually pretty good. Right, so the last hero card for Fractured and Alterac Valley has been revealed, which is Kruckus Demon Render. He is a 6-cost hero card for Demon Hunter that reads Battlecry summon 2/1/4 demons with Rush, and this improves by your hero attacking this game. And what it means by that is you get additional minions depending on how much you attack. I don't know what the breakpoints are. I don't think that's been revealed yet, but his hero power is Ash Fallen's Fury, which is a 1-cost hero power that reads +2 attack this turn after a friendly minion attacks. Refresh this. So this card, in combination with a bunch of the other token Demon Hunter support that we've been seeing, could actually be quite insane. In theory, you could actually go infinite with the Deadeye that reduces your hero power's cost by 1, which could be a really funny deck to actually try out, and I'm actually looking forward to actually trying that combo out in the future. So look forward to that. Alright, so while I was editing the video that this is going to be in, I noticed that there was one more card revealed, which is Fellfire in the Hole, which is a 5-cost Warlock spell that draws a spell from your deck and deals 2 damage to all enemies. If it's a Fell spell, deal 1 more. So this works in combination with the hero card for Warlock. So overall, I think this card probably won't see that much play actually in Standard. It's basically a worse Fire Cell. The upside of Fire Cell is that you can trade it in when you don't need it in certain matchups, but the upside of this is you just draw into a Fell spell, and I don't know which Fell spells at the current moment that you'd actually want to draw into. If this got some additional support, maybe it could see some play, but until then, I don't know. Sneaky Scout is a neutral minion that got revealed today that costs 2 with 3 attack and 2 HP, that has stealth and honorable kill. Your next hero power costs 0. So in Standard, I don't know how useful this is going to be. However, it could see some play in some type of stealth rogue deck. That's the honest home that I could actually see for this card. Though with the hero power reduction, I don't know how important that is for rogue to actually have. Doesn't seem like a necessary card for that type of class, but you could also use it in some other class that actually wants to use their hero power for 0, maybe in some type of control deck, who knows. It is kind of hard to deal with just because it'll make 3 HP minions a little bit worse. You could also buff this up in Paladin and thus have it have like 5 attack instead of 3 attack, which could also be pretty cool. It just depends where this actually fits into each individual class. Corporal is another neutral minion that got revealed, which is a 2-cost minion with 2 attack and 3 HP, which is the opposite of the last one. With honorable kill, give your other minions divine shield. So I don't know how useful this is actually going to be in the end, but I could see this maybe seeing some play in some type of like hand buff Paladin deck, just because then you can give all your other minions divine shield. And there are a lot of minions that have 2 HP anyways in Standard, or even 4 if you decide to buff this with Hand of Adult. This is definitely one of those cards that kind of reads as a Paladin card, even though it's neutral. But there are other classes that could maybe abuse this if they need a good 2-drop. And is a card that your opponent's going to have to instantly deal with, or they might have a big problem later on in the game. So overall, it's alright card. It probably will see some play in some type of aggro strategy, but it's not that interesting to me. Alright, so those were the cards revealed today, and we do have a good chunk of the set, so let me know down below what cards that you're most looking forward to use, and maybe what type of deck that you actually want to see first. Like always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, bye bye.